Okay, what's up, people? Welcome to the broadcast. This, okay, all right, let me try this again. I had my mic on mute and didn't even realize it. I was playing the Bob Ross music and forgot to have my mic off the mute. So let's do this over again. Okay, second time's a charm. Welcome to the broadcast, people. All right, this broadcast is going to be about the following. While pro-aborts make abortion more difficult of a subject than it is. You see, they say, well, abortion is a difficult topic. I don't think so. I don't see any reason to think that abortion is a difficult topic at all. I mean, to me, it's as simple as this. A human being is a child, and you don't take the life of a human being without due process. It's really that simple. They'll throw in all these other particulars and all these other qualifiers and try to reason their way a million ways around it. But ultimately, they have no way to justify what they're saying. They have no basis for making abortion more difficult of a subject than what it really is. You could take any argument they use outside of legitimate life-saving circumstances. You could take any argument outside of that and apply it to a born child, and they would not justify killing by the same logic. You gotta look at what's actually happening to the unborn with an abortion procedure. We are talking about brutal destruction. We are talking about surgical mutilation of the unborn. The unborn is destroyed into pieces. That's typically what happens in an abortion. The unborn is surgically cut up into pieces. Surgically cut up into pieces. And in no way would they justify any such thing for a born child. No way would they justify any such thing for a born child. They make abortion way more difficult than it is. They have this magic foundation that upon the change of the location from the outside of the womb, from the inside of the womb, I should say, to the outside of the womb, they have this magical change of heart that is a different story, and it's not. You're literally dealing with the same human being. The only difference is the location. That's it. What they do most of the time is they zero in on these horrific circumstances like rape and legitimate life-threatening cases in which termination would be necessary. But they ain't trying to justify or argue like choice on the basis of convenience. Most of the time, they're not trying to argue that. They don't want to focus on those cases that have nothing to do with convenience because con- here's the thing: the majority of women getting abortions are not getting them because their lives are in danger or because they were raped. The majority of women getting abortions do them for economic reasons or for personal convenience reasons or things like this, saying they may not be able to afford the kid. The kid may get in the way of their career. The kid may have a difficult life. The kid wasn't the gender or sex that they want the kid to be, and things like this. Most abortions typically fall into these sorts of categories, not legitimate cases of life-threatening instances. And I have sources to which there are medical experts or medical sources, like even Planned Parenthood, who would not even define what happens in life-threatening issues such as ectopic pregnancy as an abortion in which to resolve it. The reason why is that they recognize the difference between a legitimate life-threatening circumstances in which you have two lives hanging in a balance, as opposed to the active, intentional, purposeful killing of the unborn. There is absolutely no comparison between those two cases. So don't let the pro-aborts lead you down a rabbit trail by trying to emotionally manipulate the conversation by appealing to those rare circumstances. They do absolutely nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, to justify their position. They can't justify abortion at all. They really cannot. At least in the context of the intentional killing for convenience. And even if they could argue intentional killing in a life threatening, a legit life threatening circumstance, it would not serve to extrapolate that they could do so in literally any and every circumstance, which has nothing to do with that. They can't do it. But the fact remains is, despite the fact that they know they can't do it, it doesn't stop them from attempting to do it. These people are just among the lowest of morally depraved individuals. They can't justify their position, and they know they can't. So the tactic is to emotionally manipulate the conversation. They're going to do whatever they can to emotionally manipulate the conversation because they know the problems that they're going to have if they don't attempt to emotionally distract and manipulate the conversation are going to be too many, way more than they can handle. I have sources from leading medical experts which states that abortion is never necessary to save a woman's life or a mother's life. Leading medical professionals from both sides have concluded this. There is not a debate about this. The only people who think there is a debate are people who haven't done their homework. I've debated this topic for well over 10 years strong. I've done my research and my homework. I've seen lots of sources. There is no debate on this subject that abortion is never a need to save the life of a woman. Don't let anybody believe and tell you different. Whoever would think otherwise have not done their homework. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a link in the chat. Anybody wants to come in, it's there for them to come in. So one person says, am I done ranting? Well, seeing as this is my channel, I can rant how much I want to. You don't like it? Change the channel. It's really that simple. Or you can come in here and try to justify the pro-choice or pro-abortion position if you're on that side of the argument. But most of the time, people aren't going to come in here and justify what they're saying because they're cowards. They know they can't justify abortion. Very few people actually have the bravery, actually have, oh, what's up, bro? What's happening, man?
Nothing much. I saw you were streaming, so I just went on here real quick.
All right, awesome.
Hey, Antonio.
Hey, little man, what's up?
I'm good.
I'm good too. Good to hear you, man. But yeah, these these pro-aborts make abortion way more difficult than it is, man. And they do that by a number of emotionally manipulative ways. They try to do it by way of rape. They try to do it by way of cases of like physical deformity, like say the brain may not be developed, or just all sorts of cases, man. You gotta take the emotional part out the equation. Then they have no leg to stand on.
Yeah, it seems like they always take the emotional route, but never take the logical route.
Yep, I agree. And some guy in the chat talking about, am I done ranting? And say he'd come in the room if he have a mic. Isn't it always convenient how the people who talk the loudest never seem to be able to have a mic or never seem to want to actually come in the room and back up the nonsense they say?
I mean, I'm on my phone, and I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure he has a phone that's capable of having a mic in it.
Oh, absolutely, man. What's up, brother Carlos? What's happening, man?
Hey, what's good, my brothers? How's it going, man? Yeah,
Not
man.
bad, man.
You know, it's so convenient how a lot of these people, man, they sit there and they say, oh, I have no mic. Well, last I checked, my computer has, well, I guess my computer is more new, so from my understanding, most of the people I know, their computers have mics or their phones have mics. You know what I mean?
There's next to no excuse not to have some sort of microphone in either your basic Android phone or
Right.
a basic laptop or something like that. There's literally no excuse.
Yeah, and I just want to say, at the end of the day, man, you can attempt, you can continue to sincerely, deceive others and stuff like that as much as you want to. But boy, when you alone, you lying. You know you
Exactly.
lying. Stop
Exactly.
lying to us, man. We know you lying, man. So you're not fooling us. Get out of here with that nonsense, man. If you're gonna troll and talk crap and all that stuff, man, don't even. Why waste your time? If you don't have a problem, if you're gonna argue like that, just keep it moving, man. You know what I mean? If you want to argue and I mean, when I mean argue, I don't mean like a logical argument or civil discussion. If you're gonna just sit there argue and troll and hurl insults, man, then why even deal with the issue? You know what I mean?
Thank you.
It's a lot of boys out here, man, who sit there and they like to argue and fight and go back and forth. It's like, like a little
Absolutely,
girl, man.
absolutely, man. These they're a bunch of sissies, dude. They're a
Right.
bunch of little e-thug, e-cowards. That's all they are.
Did you just say E Thug? That's funny.
Yes, they're e-thugs, e-gangsters. They ain't gangsters, they're gangsters.
Gangster.
Bunch of little spoiled. Well, not well. Some of them are spoiled. If you're talking about the social injustice war types, but these are just a bunch of little freaking sissies, dude. Just whining and hissy fit throwing
Right.
and just screaming and feelings is all it is. Bunch of pansies, dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And he's most likely the guy that probably thumbs down the video, man. Like really, dude, like so you just thumbs down at anything like that goes against what you have to say. Come on, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Guys are corny, man.
Yeah. He's that one cat who be like thumbing the video down like within like 2 freaking seconds of the video being uploaded. The video won't be even up 5 seconds and already be a thumbs down.
He all he hears is oh Christian pro life. Oh man, this is a thumbs down, man. This calls for a thumbs down. You know one thing I don't like. You can no longer thumbs down comments. You see a lot of these people, they'll get like 7 likes. They'll get like 6 likes on their little comment, but they don't know if they had that feature, the thumbs down feature, y'all would probably witness like a 50 dislikes or 120 dislikes, man. So all you people in the comment section leaving all these stupid comments, don't gas yourself because you got like 6, 7 people who up like your comment, man. You forget
That's
that
what I'm
that
saying.
dislike feature is disabled. If it was, it exposed a lot of y'all foolish arguments.
Exactly. The only reason why I enable it is just to see. I mean, I used to disable it like years ago when I used to upload YouTube videos every now and again, but nowadays I enable it because I want to see. I want people to see the foolishness. I want people to see how much people hate the truth. I want people to see how much people will fight against what's right and what's moral, and how they'll go out of their way to justify or attempt to justify the unjustifiable.
Right. This guy sits there and says you'd be easy. I'd like to see you to take my man Antonio on a one-on-one on abortion and moderate it, because I have a feeling what you're gonna do is you're gonna come in with this pompous, arrogant attitude, and you're gonna get frustrated with your own arguments that you're gonna just end up leaving or making yourself get booted or talking over people and stuff like that. So we'll put you to the test, man. So whatever your name is, Jack. O's by Jack. If you're listening, man, get your mic straight. Put your money to the side. Get a job or something. You know, ask your grandma for I don't know, whatever you got going on, man. Get your mic straight and come show us how that would be easy. Talk is cheap, brother. But yeah, man. So Antonio, the title of this hangout is why pro-aborts make abortion more difficult than it is. Why do you say that?
Oh, well, first of all, like you rightly said, talk is cheap. I mean, talk is so cheap that you don't even need to have a coupon for it. You know what I'm saying?
No coupons. Nah, I hear you, brother. I hear
Yeah,
you.
but yeah, about the hangout. To answer your question, they make it more difficult than it is for the simple reason, all the reasons outside of termination for legitimate life-threatening cases to where lives are literally in the balance. All the other arguments they apply, they would not apply to a child that's already born. They would not say that a woman who cannot provide for her child if the child is already born would justify killing the child. They would not say that if a woman who conceived that born child in rape, is all of a sudden just dealing with, the emotional stress from looking at her child's face from her rapist, would they justify killing the child? No, none of them would be like if the child was already born, that they should be able to take the child out if, let's say, I don't know, the child happened to be born with a very, very bad case or something like that. Like, they wouldn't, if the child was already born and the parents wanted the child, the doctors would do whatever they could for the child, no matter what bad disease or deformity or what have you the child has. They wouldn't just kill the child, and they wouldn't justify none of these arguments for a child that's already born. But for some reason, they think it's magically different when the child is unborn. They wouldn't be like, because they like to point to a case called anencephaly, which is the lack of development of the brain, to justify killing a child. But say a child with anencephaly was born, okay, and they say basically the child has next to no brain and the child is not going to live for very long. They wouldn't justify cutting that child up into pieces like they do with abortion procedures in the womb, because that's what happens. Surgical abortion literally is the dismemberment of the unborn child into pieces, just outright destruction. They would not justify that sort of thing happening to a born child at all.
So let me give you a scenario. This may be a bad analogy or example. So feel more than free to critique it. So let's say, for somehow, some way, man, technology is the year 4559. Technology is so advanced you can literally take a person who is, how can I say, whose brain isn't functioning, he's like a vegetable, right? And you can kind of shrink him to the point where you can surgically put him inside of his mother again. Like, would that be justifiable just to kill him because he's become a part of his mother inside of her? I mean,
No, absolutely not.
like, 'cause I'm thinking that would be foolish just because the child is inside the mother, that's quote unquote her body, that she can do whatever she want with it.
Exactly, and here's the thing: it's not like they're trying to. I know that they'll have cases to where they'll try to say to where if a child has terminal cancer and they want to maybe make the decision whether to pull the plug or not. But even if they did, have that sort of circumstance, at least, they wouldn't brutalize the child to death. At least, if they wanted to euthanize the child to death, they would do it in sort of the most painless way possible. But, I mean, it's not like these people are even fighting for that sort of thing to happen in the womb. They're not looking to make, even for, if they want to try, I mean, they wouldn't be able to justify it anyway, but even if they want to try to make themselves sound more merciful, it's not like these people are arguing for means to abort the kid, without the kid feeling pain in any stage in pregnancy. It's not like they're arguing for those such things to happen. They don't care about the surgical destruction of the child. They don't care about the child being torn limb from limb. They don't care about none of that stuff. They're not arguing for the advancement of medical technology in which the most quote unquote peaceful killing would happen without outright dismemberment or anything like that. They're not even arguing for stuff like that, because the fact of the matter is they don't really care whether the unborn is dismembered or not, whether it's brutalized to death or whether it dies peacefully. The only thing is is that they only care about the fact that the mother should be able to have a choice to do it. To them, the unborn is basically nothing. It's just a disposable piece of garbage. But even if they're going to justify, killing a born child with terminal cancer at the very least, they would have a means to do it in a peaceful sort of non-suffering way. They won't even do that for the unborn. Again, they can't justify it, even if they could have a painless way to do it. But I'm just trying to illustrate the scope of just how sick these people are and how much their standards drastically differ from the unborn to the born.
Right. You always hear well, this child may be brought up sick, this child may be brought up with this disease, we don't want him to suffer. Um, by what standard do you um, do you define what suffering is? And is suffering bad? Is suffering good? I mean, in this postmodern subjective world, this country that we're in, well, what's, you know, you can look at it as a type of suffering. I can look at it as something for a greater good, you know. Um,
Yep.
so it's just like, who's to say, who's suffering or not? I think that would be a matter of perspective. You can still have a good outlook on things that though the child may come out sick or ill in some way, that you can still love them, still care for them, still give them the best life as possible, and you know, um, who's to say, oh, that's wrong? You don't want a child like that. You have to completely get rid of him. By whose standard?
Exactly.
But yeah, I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah. I'm sick of the stupid appeals. I'm sick of the pseudo intellectual reasoning for people thinking that abortion is more difficult than it is. The fact of the matter is that society has been brainwashed to think that. They don't have any basis for really believing that, for really concluding that. They don't have any basis for it. What it all comes down to is they think location magically makes things different. They think development magically makes things different. That's what it comes down to. They really do not care about the line of reasoning that they're using. They have these arbitrary foundations and these circular bases for the things that they're saying. They know they can't justify what they're saying. That's why they feel the need to zero in on these horrific cases and emotionally try to manipulate the conversation. They're not going to, most of the time anyway, they're not going to attempt to justify just mere choice, abortion for sole personal convenience, because they know how ridiculous that they sound if they try to use the clump of cells argument, if they try to use the lack of development, if they try to use the lack of pain, if they try to use all these things. They know that they sound ridiculous. Every last single one of them recognize how ridiculous and stupid they sound when they use these sorts of arguments. They all know it. Every last single one of them knows it. But again, like I said earlier, that doesn't stop them from using them. Even knowing how ridiculous they are, that doesn't stop them from using them. And definitely doesn't stop them from the majority of the time trying to zero in on these horrific cases, which none of justify in the intentional killing of the unborn anyway. I'm about to screen share something for all of you, and this is going to probably not blow anybody's mind, but for some people are going to still reject it. They're still going to go about their own way. They're still going to not learn anything and argue nonsense at the end of the day, but they cannot refute what's in front of them. All right. I'm about to give you some quotes from medical experts and why abortion is not necessary to save the life of the mother. All right, can you see my screen? I'm just gonna.
Yes, we can see.
Okay. All right, here we go. How often is abortion necessary to save the life of the mother? Everett Koop, MD, medical doctor, former U.S. Surgeon General. Protection of that threaten the mother's health. He will
Yeah,
take the
Antonio,
child
man.
by inducing labor
You,
or performing a cesarean section.
yeah, Antonio,
His
man.
intention is still to save.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
What?
Antonio. You had cut out for a while there, man. If you could restart that, your
Am I
presentation.
breaking up?
Yeah. Yeah, but you're good now. If you could start off again, and introducing the article you were talking about again, that would be great. Cause much of it was blocked out.
Do I sound better now?
Yeah, you're good.
Hey, do I sound better now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna try to read that again.
Sure.
Can you understand me loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm gonna attempt to read that again. On just a moment. All right. Okay. Hold on a second. All right. All right. I'm gonna try to reload and come back. All right. If you can hear me on mine, I'm gonna try to reload and come back. Okay. Do I sound better now?
Hey, did you say something? I didn't hear you.
Yeah. Do I sound better now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was breaking up. Okay. I'm gonna try this again. All right. All right. As I was saying, how often is abortion to save the life of the mother? Everett Koop, medical doctor, former U.S. Surgeon General. Protection of the life of the mother as an excuse for an abortion is a smokescreen. In my 36 years in pediatric surgery, I've never known of one instance where the child had to be aborted to save the mother's life. If toward the end of the pregnancy complications arise that threaten the mother's health, he will take the child by inducing labor or performing a cesarean section. His intention is to still save the life of both the mother and the baby. The baby will be premature and perhaps immature, depending on the length of gestation. Because it has suddenly been taken out of the protective womb, it may encounter threats to its survival. The baby is never willfully destroyed because the mother's life is in danger. And there's the source material right there. Okay, Alan F. Guttmacher, medical doctor, the founder of Planned Parenthood, obviously a pro-choice / pro-abortion agency, longtime abortion advocate whose name was used for Planned Parenthood's sister organization, the Guttmacher Institute. Today, it is possible for almost any patient to be brought through pregnancy alive, unless she suffers from a fatal illness such as cancer or leukemia. And if so, abortion would be unlikely to prolong, much less save life. And this is a pro-abortion medical doctor saying this. Jasper Williams, medical doctor, past president of the National Medical Association. The number of medical cases in which abortion is an indicated and appropriate part of the treatment is practically nil. Since 1953, I have never seen a patient die who died because she needed an abortion and it could not be performed. I have seen patients die with sickle cell disease. Aborting them would not have helped. Those patients could have been treated a little bit better by the prevention of pregnancy, but once they were pregnant, not aborting them did not make the situation worse. The same is true of congestive heart failure. Open heart surgery is performed on pregnant patients. Doctors now have the tools and knowledge with which to work so they can handle almost any disease a patient might have, whether that patient is pregnant or not, and without interrupting the pregnancy. How often is abortion necessary to save mother? Jasper Williams, medical doctor, Bernard Hospital, Chicago, Illinois, past president of the National Medical Association, testimony before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on the Constitution hearings on constitutional amendments related to abortion, October 19, 1981. I'm a physician who supports legalized abortion and has performed abortions for decades. With diseases like lupus, multiple sclerosis, even breast cancer, the chance that the pregnancy will make the disease worse is no greater than the chance that the disease will either stay the same or improve. And medical technology has advanced to a point where even women with diabetes and kidney disease can be seen through a pregnancy safely by a doctor who knows what he or she is doing. We've come a long way since my mother's time. The idea of abortion to save the mother's life is something that people cling to because it sounds noble and pure. But medically speaking, it probably doesn't exist. It's a real stretch of our thinking. Dr. Mary Calderon, medical doctor, medical director of Planned Parenthood Federation of America, writing half a century ago. Medically speaking, that is from the point of view of diseases of the various systems, cardiac, genitourinary, if I even said that correctly, and so on, it is hardly ever necessary today to consider the life of a mother as threatened by pregnancy. Illegal abortion as a public health problem, American Journal of Public Health, 1960. From a medical OBGYN who used to perform abortions but later became president of the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists. In conclusion, although serious threats to the health can occur, there is always a life-affirming way to care for the mother and baby, no matter how bleak the prognosis. All right. All right. I think the evidence is clear. I don't even think I need to read the rest of that. The evidence is overwhelming that abortion is not necessary to save a mother's life, okay? Anybody who wants to claim otherwise simply just not know what they're talking about. And this is one way that pro-aborts like to make more abortion more difficult than it is, because they're ignorant. Either they're ignorant or they're willfully dishonest. One of the two. After me reading this clear information, if they still conclude that they're going to say the ignorance or stay in their ignorance, then they're willfully being dishonest. Abortion is not a difficult issue. It really isn't. Once you understand the dignity of human life, once you understand that by virtue of being a human being, you should have the right for your life to be treated as one which is valued. Once the issue of personal responsibility and accountability is well understood and accepted, abortion is not a difficult issue. Everybody knows deep down abortion is not a difficult issue. They know it. But they try to make it more difficult than it is, because it's easier to accept the fact that they don't want to offend people. They don't want to offend people by defending the life of the unborn. Well, at least they don't want to offend people who say they are pro-choice. Most of the time, either they don't want to offend people who are pro-choice, and or they want to try to compromise with both sides. That's typically what is going on here. They don't truly believe that that these arguments have any merit. It's just easier for them to go along with trying to compromise and trying to argue the pro-choice position, because it makes them more likable to more people. It makes them seem like they're more respected towards people. It's always about trying not to offend somebody. It's always about trying to get on people's good side. It's hardly ever about telling the truth anymore. It's hardly ever about standing up for personal responsibility. This subject is not that difficult, period. It's really as simple as this. You have a human being. You don't kill that human being without due process. In this story, as I said earlier, none of these arguments they give to justify killing the unborn would they use for a born human being. They wouldn't do it. They would not have all these brutal tactics to kill a born human being as they would for the unborn. Nobody would think just because someone may not be able to feel pain, or is in a deep coma, or they're in some sort of condition to where they can't feel pain when they're born, that it would be okay to just cut them up into pieces and slaughter them like the unborn is early in pregnancy. Well, they say, well, the unborn can't feel pain. It's okay to tear them into pieces. They can't feel pain. In no sense would this be justifiable when the child is born. Then they want to appeal to development. They want to appeal to sentience. Then they want to appeal to legal rights and all this other stuff. They don't want to just think for themselves. They want to try to, well, the law says it and this and that. These are the people who think the law should not be able to control a woman. You know, yeah, these are the people who will say that like the law should not be, part of a woman's choice, at least early term anyway. But they, most of them shift against that once the unborn is more developed.
And yeah, it may be the law, but you have laws in these third world countries that says it's okay for like for women to be raped, and you don't see them say anything about that though.
Exactly. They know what's wrong and they know it has nothing to do with the law. But they cherry pick which laws they are more comfortable with and which ones they aren't. Stupid laws do exist, okay? Unjust laws do exist. But it's about the laws that makes them feel more comfortable. It's about the laws that make them feel better about justifying their nonsense. They cherry pick and choose which laws feel them more comfortable and which ones they want to say, well, that's a messed up law. Or they want to say, well, it shouldn't be the law that a woman should not have the right to choose. They would have a problem very quick. Let's say abortion was made illegal tomorrow, from the earliest point in pregnancy all the way to the end, like it was banned entirely. They would have a problem with that law very, very quick, and they would not be pointing to the law to justify their argument. In fact, they would fight against the law. It's the same reason why those who believed in gay marriage being something that should be of the law. It's the reason why they fought against laws for years to forbid gay marriage. Okay, they fought against those laws for years because they believed that they were unjust. Laws that forbid homosexuals and gay people from marrying, they thought those laws were unjust. So they'll use the law out on one side of their mouth and reject the law on the other side of their mouth. It's not about what the law says. If you really truly believe something is immoral, then you would fight against it or try to get the change in the law. And that's what pro-lifers are attempting to do. And abolitionists, they're attempting to get the law changed to make abortion illegal entirely, not make it difficult for women who are facing legitimate life-threatening circumstances to get the medical treatment they need. But we're talking about stuff like, okay, you had consensual sex at a time, and you had consensual sex and conceived at the most inconvenient time of your life, and you don't want to carry the pregnancy because you just don't want to be pregnant. These are the types of cases that comprise the overwhelming majority of the reason why people get abortions. It is for things like this, not for things like rape or life-threatening cases, not for any other emotional horrific basis. These are the majority of cases that they argue. Okay. Yeah, this troll is laughable. This freaking moron in the chat here. I find it so interesting that people are so consumed with trolling people's pages, but they won't come in the room and debate like men. They don't want to debate like adults. They want to act a bunch of spineless little drama high school kids that troll people's pages. These, like I said, they are a bunch of e-thugs. They're e-gangsters. Most of these people wouldn't say this crap to people's faces in real life. Oh man, these people are hilarious to me.
Dude, if you don't want to hear them talking, then just leave. Why are you still here?
Exactly. But some people, it's not about the fact that they think the person's an idiot. It's about the fact that they have a problem with that person telling the truth. And it bothers them so much in their conscience that they want to go troll people's pages and attack. That's what it's about. Because mature people move on. You see, I know there's a lot of pro-choicers on Google Hangouts and on YouTube. I know there's a ton of them. They come dime a dozen, just like atheists on YouTube. They come a dime a dozen. I don't agree with what they're saying, and I think they're telling stuff that are flat out false and saying things that are untrue. I don't agree with their position. I don't agree with their basis of justifying abortion, but do I go to their pages trolling their chats? No, I stay off of them. I don't care. I don't listen to them. I don't entertain what they have to say. If I'm going to go into their hangouts or go to their chats, then I'm going to go to inside their hangouts and have a discussion if they're willing to have a mature discussion. That is, I'm not going to go to somebody. I'm not going to go to somebody's YouTube page and just troll in their chat. I'm going to go inside and talk to them like a man, like an adult, and attempt to have a sound discussion. These people don't seem to understand that. But yeah, you honestly do. You can take a hike if you don't like it. I'm quite honored that you would come to my page and give me more recognition by acknowledging my existence, by trolling in my chat. I really appreciate that you are validating my existence by trolling in my chat. Thank you so much for your donation, so I really appreciate it. I am so honored that I am on your mind like that. You are so consumed with me in your head that I would probably even make you wake up in a cold sweat.
Yeah, like this dude claims earlier he claimed that he doesn't have a mic, but he's still, but he just rather be here and just troll all day and not actually have a serious conversation.
Exactly. He doesn't want to have a serious conversation. A lot of these people don't want to have serious conversations. They know what the deal is. They know they can't back up the crap they say. They know that their position is morally depraved. They know that their position is indefensible. They know it. Every last single one of them knows it. There are very few people who will actually come in and maturely debate the issue. Very few people will actually do it. The rest of them are just a bunch of mindless trolls who don't think for themselves and buy the nonsense that everyone is saying. Talking about, am I talking to myself? Well, you trolling by yourself, sir. You're trolling by yourself. I don't see any other trolls in here in the chat with you. You came to my page. I don't know you, sir. You apparently you know me. I don't know you.
See, they'd rather hide behind a computer screen and type without actually having a real conversation, like physically, like through the microphone. Because I'm pretty sure he has one. He just claims he doesn't, and so he won't have a real conversation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has one, and there are probably other hangouts this dude goes to in which he would actually use a mic.
Yeah, yeah. Because if it was like a mainly pro-choice kind of hangout, I'm pretty sure he'd be there in an instant.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But yeah, this is what these people do, and you know what? These people are only making our position stronger. They're only making our case stronger. They're only making our case better. It's just like the people who are trolling Donald Trump's speaking engagements. Okay, I'm not a fan of Trump by any stretch of the imagination, but it's kind of hard not to support him when you got all these people trying to shut down everywhere he goes to speak. It's kind of hard not to be like, well, you know what? I don't like or agree with what he's saying, but it's kind of hard not to get behind the dude when all these people are trying to go after him or trying to keep him from talking or trying to shut him up. It's the same thing here. You know, you don't like what someone has to say, but you're gonna go to where they're saying it and and try to keep them from talking instead of staying away. You don't want to compete in the arena of ideas. You don't want to actually formulate better ideas, formulate better arguments, use better logic, use more sound logic and reasoning. You want to try to compete on insulting people. You want to try to compete on drama. You want to try to compete on confusion. You want to try to compete on high school drama. You don't want to try to compete on the ideas or the arguments. So, yeah, these people are absolutely, you know, as far as I can see, these people aren't worth the freaking dirt in the grass that I stepped on this morning. Because these people have a bone to pick with those who stand for justice and truth. And it's not something that's just, you know, a Christian thing either. In fact, there are several atheist and secular pro-life organizations. And I'm going to screenshot or screen share, I should say, a few of them here. I'm going to screen share right now and then go to Google, and then I'm going to type in secular pro-life. Okay, so YouTube secular pro-life. All right, yep. Secularprolife.org. Even got speaking arrangements. And why I'm a pro-life atheist, pro-life and feminist. See? This isn't a Christian or just a Christian-centered issue. All right. Let's do another one, like atheist pro-life. Let's see. Pro-life humanists, pro-life atheists, agnostics, and humanists. You see? Pro-life humanists, pro-life atheists. All right. Atheists, agnostics, and humanists. I think there's another one like Atheist Pro-Life League. Yep, Doubtless Pro-Life. Atheist and Agnostic Pro-Life League. And so, yeah, the evidence is in front of people, okay? Yes, this isn't just a Christian issue, clearly. This has, I mean, my personal ultimate underlying reasons for being against abortion It's my theological beliefs, my um, love of Jesus Christ, and me being a Christian. Those are my ultimate underlying reasons for being against abortion. But say hypothetically, I was to become an atheist tomorrow, I could still make a solid case against abortion, just on secular merits. This isn't just a Christian issue. Atheists and Christians recognize that abortion is wrong. I mean, it's really that simple. And I think that all the more ticks them off, knowing that this isn't just a Christian issue, knowing that it isn't just a bunch of right-wing Christian religious bigots who's against abortion. That's just not true, and they know it. They try to put all pro-lifers and abolitionists in a box to try to make it easier to attack. It's nothing more than a straw man is what it is. It just goes back to them trying to confuse things and trying to distort things and making mountains out of molehills. And making a mountain out of a molehill is one of the big things they do in this abortion discussion. They try to make abortion way more difficult than it is, knowing full and heck well it's not as difficult as they say it is. Any emotional argument that they give outside of legitimate life-threatening circumstances, they can't argue. Let's see. I just got a message real quick. Hey, you mind giving Jordan the link, bro?
He's about to go in there right now.
Oh, okay. All right, sounds good. But as I was saying, pro-aborts like to make mountains out of molehills and make abortion way more difficult than it is. It's not a difficult issue. It's not a tough issue. It's not anything. There are the only things that would be the most difficult emotionally is like rape. That is an emotionally a huge emotional hurdle right there. But it's not a sound intellectual hurdle, okay? But again, outside of cases like legitimate life-threatening circumstances to where termination may be necessary to save the mother's life, which isn't even called an abortion, by the way. Matter of fact, I'm about to share yet another link, screen share by medical. All right, here we go. Well, you've already seen stuff about abortion. It's not necessary to save a mother's life. I'm gonna scroll down and show you. See, okay. Here's what Professor John Bonner, the then chairman of the Institute of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, testified before a high-powered Oreitis committee. It would never cross an obstetrician's mind that intervening in a case of preeclampsia, cancer of the cervix, or ectopic pregnancy is an abortion. They are not an abortion as far as the medical professional is concerned. These are medical treatments that are essential to save the life of the mother. All right. Let's see. Um, Professor Bonner also told the committee that 95% of the members of the institutions of obstetricians and gynecologists surveyed said that they could preserve the mother's life and health without abortion. And the Institute of Obstetricians and Gynecologists also submitted that we consider that there is a fundamental difference between abortion carried out with the intention of taking the life of the baby, for example, for social reasons, and the unavoidable death of the baby resulting from essential treatment to protect the life of the mother. Okay. But yeah, that's it right there. The only context that they would even try to use to say that those terminating pregnancy circumstances was quote unquote abortion as if they simply defined abortion only as the termination of pregnancy. Which medically abortion, you can say that medically abortion is determination of pregnancy. But they know what the difference is between active intentional killing and determination of pregnancy by, let's say, trying to resolve a life-threatening case by surgery. Like if they would try to surgically remove the unborn from inside the womb, not necessarily just go into the womb and cut up the unborn piece by piece. I have never seen or heard of a medical case to where they need to literally go inside and cut up the unborn piece by piece, like intentionally kill the unborn inside the womb to save a mother's life. And I quoted multiple medical professionals and even pro-choice medical professionals who would say that abortion is not necessary to save the life of a mother, or at the very least would be very unlikely to save her life. So when they make these sorts of arguments, they're just talking ignorance. And I'm about to show a video of a former abortionist himself. His name is Dr. Anthony Levatino, former abortionist, also confirmed the same thing. What's up, man? Good to see you, bro.
Good, Antonio.
All right. Um, I'm going to show a video of a former abortionist who would say that abortion is not medically necessary to save the life of a mother. Let's see. I'm about to play this video now. Let's see, screen share. All right. Here we go. All right. It's on. Hold on a second. It was on mute.
Hey, Antonio, it's been kind of hard to hear the video.
Well, I mean, my bad. I mean, I really can't turn it up any louder. The yeah, the video itself isn't really that loud in volume. I mean, I can't get it up any louder than Yeah, I got my volume up at full blast, and the video is up in full blast. I really can't get it up any louder.
Oh, all right.
Just try to listen as carefully as you can. Okay, all right. I just realized why you couldn't hear the video. I clowned up. I goofed up and had the dang my headphones plugged in. Man,
Wow. Wow.
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
All right,
well, then,
all right. My bad.
don't worry about it.
We're gonna have to do it again. We're gonna have to do it again. Wow, that was so derp on my part.
Oh, Amani, real quick. How do you have AJ in everything?
What?
How do you have AJ in everything?
Hey, refer to me as AJL from now on, all right?
AJF.
What?
How do you have AJF there instead of your actual name?
I changed my
All
username.
right, all right. I'm gonna try to do this again. My bad. All
Well,
right,
wait, I'll tell you how to change your username in like a few minutes.
Okay.
all right. We're gonna run it again. Can y'all hear it now?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. All right.
One of the biggest arguments of pro-abortion activists is that abortion is medically necessary. What's your position on that?
We hear all the time how abortion, including especially late-term abortion, is necessary to save women's lives. Nothing could be further from the truth. I spent 9 years working at a tertiary medical center. I mean, there are only certain hospitals in the country that are designated to take care of the really, really high-risk pregnancies. You don't want to duplicate the effort. It's expensive. So these hospitals get referrals from the surrounding area. Albany Medical Center in Albany, New York, where I worked, was one of them. I was faculty at the hospital for 9 years. And I saw hundreds of cases of really severe pregnancy complications, cancers, heart disease, intractable diabetes out of control, toxemia, pregnancy out of control. And I saved, in those 9 years, I saved hundreds of women from life-threatening pregnancies. And I did that by delivering them, by ending their pregnancy by delivery, either induction of labor or cesarean section.
Delivering the baby.
Delivering the baby. And I always tell people, in all of those years, the number of babies that I was obligated to deliberately kill in the process was zero, none. And I'll give you an example. The key point about late-term abortion that so many people miss is that it takes days to prepare the cervix. This is not a natural situation by any stretch. If you're going to dilate the cervix sufficiently, it starts off essentially as a pinpoint, large enough to dismember or tear apart a baby this big. That cervix has to be dilated, and that can take anywhere from 24 to 72 hours, especially when you're talking about later-term pregnancies. Most life-threatening situations, the vast, vast majority of life-threatening situations in pregnancy are not going to arise until 24, 25, 26 weeks of pregnancy and higher. And when you're talking about that, you're talking about abortion procedures that take 2 and 3 days to prepare the cervix. And I'll give you a classic example. This is a real case. A lady came to the hospital at 27 weeks of pregnancy with severe toxemia. Her blood pressure, you know, a normal blood pressure is about 120/80. Her blood pressure was 220/160. Okay, this lady would literally be minutes or hours away from a stroke. What do you do in a situation like that? We stabilized her, brought her back, did a cesarean section, had her delivered within an hour of arriving at the hospital. She and her baby did just fine. Now, let's say we wanted to use abortion to save her life, okay? If with that kind of blood pressure and that kind of problem, if we waited 2 to 3 days to get her cervix prepared, she would never make it. She would have been dead. And that's a perfect example. You never need late-term abortion to save a woman's life. If necessary, you accomplish the delivery. Now, did every one of those children make it because they were preterm? No. But they all had a chance, and most of them did make it.
What you're saying is so amazing, Dr. Levatino, because a lot of people never hear this. They assume when abortion is brought up that it's necessary to kill that child, sometimes to save the mother's life. But you're saying it may be necessary to deliver the baby, but you never have to purposely go and kill that child.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So why is this such a huge argument for pro-abortion advocates to say it's necessary to kill to save the life of the mother?
That argument I don't understand. In my experience, over almost a decade, I never had to kill deliberately a single child to save a woman's life during pregnancy. There's a wider discussion, though. Politically, always listen very carefully to the words that are being used. You know, we need to pass law X, Y, and Z because it protects women's health. Bill Clinton. I will be happy to sign a ban on partial birth abortion so long as it includes an exception on women's health. Well, what do they mean? Now, I have a law degree, and every lawyer knows that every single word has meaning. And what Roe didn't do was define the word health. Doe versus Bolton did. It says that health, the term health, includes a woman's physical health. Okay. But it didn't say how badly impaired her physical health had to be for it to be a problem. It includes her mental health. Okay. But again, how bad does her mental health has to be? I suppose I can imagine, I never saw one, but I can imagine a case of if the woman's going to have a psychotic break because of her pregnancy, that certainly seems like a severe mental health problem. How about she's under tremendous stress? How about, I just don't think I can cope with this pregnancy? That's mental health too. It includes her economic health. Whoa, how much money do you have to be economically healthy? Not defined. And if that wasn't enough, it includes her social health. What in blazes does that mean? What it means then when a politician says, I would be happy to support your bill so long as it has a health exception, translation, I would be happy to support your bill so long as it contains an exception so big that the bill is of no real practical effect. I can't understand why.
All right, that's it. Was y'all able to hear all that effectively?
Yeah, we actually heard it this time.
I definitely heard it.
Oh, good, much better. Yeah, basically, there is no case to where it's necessary to intentionally kill the unborn to save a mother's life. All right.
Are you like
And
including a couple of pregnancies in this?
what?
Are you including the ectopic pregnancies in this?
I would actually I'll have to look into that a little bit more. I don't think but I've never heard of them saying that they had to actually like go into the womb and surgically dismember the unborn to to like deal with an ectopic pregnancy. They might. I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't think I've ever actually heard them say they dismember the unborn. Like, but if they do, in that circumstance, the only reason why they would is because the baby wouldn't live anyway. Because because a pregnancy that early, there would be no way for the baby to survive outside the womb. And I made this point the other day.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Yeah, with Fiona. I feel like I've seen that woman before. Actually.
Yeah.
Where did I see her at?
Well, you might have saw her maybe a week before, or a couple of days before.
Was it on yours or somebody else's?
Oh, wait a minute. I know where you probably saw her at. You probably saw her when I came to visit y'all.
I believe you did. I feel like you showed us a video that had her in it.
Yeah, she comes to hangouts pretty quite often. I've had a few discussions with her.
She seems pretty irrational.
Well,
I'm not gonna say irrational. I'm gonna say more like mean.
well, here's the thing about Fiona. She's not a stupid woman. She's actually very knowledgeable.
Definitely not.
She's definitely knowledgeable on a lot of things. I just think what happens a lot of times is that she gets kind of over passionate, and she kind of like gets flared up pretty quickly, and she just has. I mean, it just gets to a point to where she just has to calm down, and then we can get to really get into the meat and potatoes of the issues. And yeah, she can say some things that are off the wall, and they have to be dealt with. But I think Fiona's nice. I like her. At least when she's calm, anyway. But yeah, there's. I think what happens is that when she gets too over passionate about the subject, she can say a whole lot of things that are just not correct or just don't make much sense. But I do think when she's like calm and she comes back down to earth, that she can sound a bit more sensible.
Did anyone actually come into this chat though? while I was like when you told me about it?
Yeah, it was just that troll and Carlos and Amani.
I saw the guy that said his mic wasn't working or something like that. Talk about how easy you would have
Yeah, right.
Yeah, his mic. Yeah, my phone has a mic. I'm pretty sure. If he has an iPhone or Android, doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure he has a mic on his phone. So he
Exactly.
has no excuse. He was just a troll.
Yep. I mean, here's the thing. How are you even accessing this account? I mean, this thing at all? Are you at somebody's house on the internet? I mean, and that's not the first time I've seen this troll. Unless you just at somebody else's house all the time using their computer and it doesn't have a mic on it or something, there is no excuse for you not to have a mic.
almost every pair of headphones has like a built-in mic in it.
Exactly.
And even if he wasn't somebody else's computer, he could just use his phone, which I'm assuming is like a normal, like not a smartphone.
Right. Basically, virtually every kid around your age group has a smartphone in which has audio microphone capability to where you can go to a Google Hangout. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there is no excuse, and pretty much every laptop within, like, let's say, the last 10 years has a dang uh webcam with microphone capability. So yeah, there's like no excuse. And if you don't have a mic, get one and then come back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's really no reason for people to just come on chat just to troll. I mean, people do it all the time, obviously, but I don't know. I just don't see why people do it.
Well, they have no other recourse because they know the things they say isn't gonna fly. They know they can't back up their positions. They know they can't bring any arguments for what they're saying. They want to attack, attack, attack to try to distract. Attack to distract. That's what it comes down to. Attack to distract. And I don't see that anybody's gonna come in here. You know what, man? I think this is just yet another one of those nights. So I don't think anybody's gonna come in here. And I got the link posted in the YouTube. Somebody could have come in here at any time, but I don't think it's gonna happen. So you know what, man? I'm just gonna go ahead and end the hangout. I'm not gonna wait another half hour for these cowards to show up.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, people. Thanks for watching, everybody. God bless.